Hello, this is my 14th speech for the Ron Paul curriculum. Today I'm going to be giving a book summary on one of my favorite books called The Girl from Montana. It has a lot of careful choices of beautiful words. It's a wonderful book. I loved it. It's a Christian book. It's fictional. If you would like to read it, I recommend you not watch this video because I will be giving spoilers. This is the book cover. By Grace Livingston Hill, so one of my favorite authors. I'm thinking of becoming an author, so I'm trying to read as many authors' books as I can, and this was one of my favorites. It's a wonderful book. I definitely recommend that you read it. The book is based on it's a fictional book based on the young life of a girl named Elizabeth Brady. The author actually doesn't give any names until page 82, so it's kind of hard to figure out whose character is who. It's a little difficult, but it's a wonderful book. It takes place in a quiet, small house in the mountains during the Western Times. Lizzie, her nickname. Her whole family died, and she was living by herself. One day, her brother's friend Bill came through the door after her brother just died, basically saying that he wanted to be with her. And she didn't because he's a very reckless and evil man. So she tells him to come back in a few days, specifically 3 days. And she knows that he's not going to stay away for 3 days. So once he's gone, she collects everything that she needs, gets her brother's horse, rides out of town. By the next afternoon, she is riding and she sees the silhouette. Fear drives her away from the silhouette. It looks like a man to her. She thinks it's Bill, and she rides almost all through the night. And in the morning, she wakes up to see the man standing beside her horse and his horse. She finds out that the man is actually not Bill. You find out later that the man's name is George Benedict. They end up riding together and become a little close. They become very close while riding because they don't have anyone to ride with. You find out that he is actually run away from a woman and she is running away from a man, so it makes two of them. And while they're riding, they get to this town, and in the town he gets a telegram that his mother is sick in Philadelphia. So he goes to Philadelphia on a train. He insists that Elizabeth goes with him, but she refuses because she thinks that he is still in love with this other woman, which he's not. He's in love with her. So she refuses and rides to Philadelphia. What astonishes me is that she was able to ride from Montana all the way to Philadelphia on horseback. She didn't ride a train, nothing. She went on horseback almost the whole way by herself. It was astonishing that, I know it's a fictional book, but it's astonishing that happened. She eventually gets to Philadelphia, and she is back and forth with each of her grandmothers, her mom's mother, her dad's mother. She's mostly with Mrs. Brady, her dad's mother. She gets an education, she gets a job, and several years later, she's at it's like a Sunday meeting, and she sees George again. And she hasn't seen George in years, even though they live in the same state, they haven't seen each other. Well, they kind of get to talking more, and they talk about their ride together. And she thinks that he is still with this woman because there was a paper about how he was basically in a relationship with this other woman that he was running away from, which is totally ridiculous while reading the book, because you're like, if he says that he doesn't like this other woman, then why do you still think he does? And it's just totally weird. But she decides that she wants to get out of Philadelphia, so she takes a train, but George gets on the train, and they finally express their feelings for each other. I was reading that book while I was hunting with my dad in a deer stand, waiting for the deer to come, and I was reading the book, And I was like, yes, they finally married. After they finally expressed their feelings for each other, they finally married. It was just the best part of the book. And for most 13-year-old girls, that's what their favorite part too. I thought I was going to jump out of my chair when they said that they finally married and had a happy life together. One of my favorite parts of the book was a quote that the author used throughout the whole book. It was like the whole theme of the book was based on this quote, which was in the Bible, "Let not your heart be troubled." And she would tell herself that when she needed to feel comfort and when she needed to feel like she was going to be okay. She would tell herself, "Let not your heart be troubled." This is my 14th speech for the Ron Paul curriculum. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope you have a wonderful day.